Hello, everyone, and welcome to the lectures of this self-knowledge course. Today we will study a very important conference, because in this lecture we will provide clear guidelines on how to correctly pronounce mantras in order to achieve astral projection. Mantras are words of power whose sounds generate specific vibrations within our body. There are mantras for many different purposes. However, today we will focus on those mantras that help accelerate the process by which the astral body separates from the physical body during the practice of astral projection. The purpose is to become conscious of the moment when this process of unfolding takes place and to take advantage of it. In this way, we will be able to leave the physical body already separated, rise from the bed, and move consciously and voluntarily within the fifth dimension of nature, the astral world. In the third lesson of this course, we spoke in depth about astral projection and studied several techniques to achieve it. Later, in lesson 37, we examined a very interesting method for attaining astral projection by applying the law of correspondences through the so-called jump technique. Today, however, we will concentrate directly on the practice of mantralization, that is, the correct pronunciation of mantras. Before doing so, we will briefly review what astral projection is in order to establish the proper context, and so that those who have not studied the previous lessons may still have a clear understanding of what astral projection involves. When we speak about astral projection, we are talking about bringing out an inner double or soul, a body exactly similar in form to the physical body, yet not cellular in nature. Instead, it is molecular. Because this body is lighter, it has abilities that the physical body does not possess. It can float, fly, stretch, pass through walls, and perform many other actions that are impossible on the physical plane. What is truly important to understand is that astral projection is not a paranormal, strange, or extraordinary phenomenon, nor is it something that happens only to certain people. In reality, it is a completely natural process that occurs in every human being each time we fall asleep. It is a normal part of our biological and psychological functioning. When the physical body falls asleep, it is recharged by the vital body. However, this process of recharging would not be possible without a process of unfolding, in which our psyche, or soul, leaves the physical body in order to move within the fifth dimension. If that constant flow of thoughts and emotions were to remain inside the physical body, the recharging process could not take place. During astral projection, the physical body remains resting in bed, while the soul, clothed in the astral body, goes out into the fifth dimension. In that dimension, we move with the astral body. Nevertheless, it is important to know that the astral body always remains connected to the physical body through the silver cord. The silver cord is an energetic thread that is practically unbreakable, since it can only be severed by the ray of death at the moment a person physically dies. Through this cord, the physical body receives information from the astral body, such as the sensations experienced on that plane, as in the case of nocturnal emissions, which we discussed in Lecture 46. At the same time, the astral body also receives information from the physical body through this cord. This occurs, for example, when someone calls us, touches us on the physical plane, when an alarm goes off, or when any other physical stimulus calls us back from the astral to the physical body, what we commonly refer to as waking up. At that moment, the astral body immediately re-enters the physical body, and we awaken. You have probably already experienced that. When this return happens suddenly, you feel a brief vibration throughout your entire body. This sensation is very similar to what is felt during the conscious detachment process when unfolding into the astral plane. Now, why are we not aware of this unfolding process when we fall asleep every day? Quite simply because our consciousness is deeply asleep. Although astral projection is a natural process that we experience every night, the vast majority of people do so unconsciously. The purpose of studying this topic and learning these techniques is to develop the ability to make this entire process conscious, to recognize the precise moment when it occurs, and to take advantage of it. The goal is that we stop merely entering the world of dreams, or the astral plane, in a fascinated and unconscious state, mechanically projecting our unconscious desires. The goal is also that we stop repeating during sleep the same behaviors and activities we carry out during the day. What truly matters is that we become conscious and learn to move deliberately and intentionally on the astral plane. And for what purpose? Because on the astral plane, which corresponds to the world of eternity, we can carry out very important investigations related to our inner work. On the astral plane, we can establish direct contact with the higher parts of our consciousness, that is, with our real inner being. We can also communicate with self-realized masters who can offer us guidance and direction. Additionally, on the astral plane, we can visit temples of wisdom, explore different places both inside and outside this planet, and deepen our understanding of many spiritual realities. We can also investigate the details that make up our ego or psychological defects, observe the progress we are making in our inner work, and engage in many other activities related to our spiritual development. There is something we must discard in order to be successful in astral projection, and that is the belief that this practice is dangerous. In reality, there is no greater danger than the one we face every single night when we go to sleep. Practicing astral projection consciously does not make the process more dangerous. On the contrary, it allows us to experience it with greater awareness. The only real dangers we face during sleep are related to the loss or theft of energy, especially when we are not protected through psychological death and protective conjurations. This can occur during nightmares, when fear allows negative entities to absorb our energy, or through the theft of sexual energy during sleep paralysis, which takes place in the fourth dimension, or through erotic dream scenes. However, beliefs such as thinking that one can get lost in the astral plane, that another entity can enter our body, that we might return incorrectly, or any other similar ideas, are completely false. These concepts only serve to prevent us from developing this important practice. All of these fears are unfounded, since we always return to the physical body, drawn back by the silver cord. What truly matters, then, is that we begin to practice until we succeed. Every one of us, without exception, has the ability to consciously project ourselves into the astral plane. For some people, this is easier because they developed this ability in past lives, or because they may have already created a solar astral body in previous existences. In many cases, such individuals have experienced spontaneous and conscious astral projections at different moments in their lives. However, even if this has never happened to you, or if you do not succeed in your first attempts, it is essential to continue practicing with discipline and perseverance until you achieve it. It is very important to break away from the misconception that astral projection is difficult or dangerous, because these beliefs block our ability to become conscious of something that happens to us naturally every day, even though we normally experience it unconsciously. Having clarified these points, let us now review some of the techniques that can be used to achieve conscious astral projection. One of these is the technique of concentration. This method consists of focusing the attention on a single object, which may be the breath, the heartbeat, a specific sound, or even the objective we wish to accomplish while in the astral plane. The essential point is not to allow thoughts, emotions, or bodily sensations to distract us from that focus. Whatever arises in the mind, we simply allow it to pass without engaging with it, maintaining steady concentration until the symptoms of astral projection begin to appear. Another technique is based on imagination. In this method, we consciously imagine a specific scene and seek to move ourselves to that place. For example, we vividly imagine a location, as clearly and in as much detail as possible. While the physical body gradually falls asleep, we sustain this mental image, and eventually we will find ourselves consciously unfolded within that imagined place. A variation of this technique consists of imagining, as the physical body relaxes and falls asleep, that a rope descends from the ceiling above the bed. We imagine ourselves grasping the rope and climbing it with our hands. Once the physical body is fully asleep, we will feel the astral body separating and climbing that rope, and we will then find ourselves consciously projected into the fifth dimension. In this way, imagination becomes a practical tool for entering the astral plane. Another very effective method is the sleep vigil. This technique is especially helpful for people who fall asleep very quickly. It consists of remaining attentive to all the sensations the body experiences as it enters sleep. As we approach the dream state, we begin to notice certain sounds and the appearance of vivid, moving images. At that precise moment, we make the effort to consciously enter that internal scene, as if stepping into a movie that is unfolding before us. By doing so, we consciously enter the astral plane, where we can move at will and carry out the objective we have set for ourselves. Another powerful technique is to practice dying from moment to moment, that is, to apply psychological death as we are falling asleep. This method is particularly effective because psychological death, when practiced continuously, helps to liberate consciousness and maintain a state of conscious alertness. Just as during the day we practice self-observation and ask our Divine Mother to eliminate each psychological defect that manifests in the form of thoughts, tensions, emotions, or sensations, so too we can continue this same practice as we prepare to enter the astral plane. By doing so, we remain present, attentive, and aware, which greatly increases the likelihood of achieving conscious astral projection. Finally, the last technique, and the one we will explain in greater detail today, is the use of mantras. This method is often very effective because, as mentioned earlier, chanting mantras makes it easier to perceive the symptoms of unfolding. Each mantra carries a specific vibration that assists the process of separation between the physical and astral bodies. Today we will study 5 mantras that are especially effective for astral projection, and we will explain how each one should be correctly pronounced. It is very important to keep in mind that only one mantra should be used per practice. Each mantra has its own specific vibration and they should not be mixed. If we practice astral projection again on another day or at another time, we may choose a different mantra, but never during the same practice. Another essential point is that the mantra should not be prolonged excessively. Each pronunciation should last no more than about 6 seconds, which corresponds approximately to the natural duration of an exhalation. This allows the physical body to fall asleep quickly, while the consciousness remains active in the astral plane. With this in mind, let us briefly review the steps for astral projection. The first step, and this is fundamental, is that before going to sleep, we must always perform the conjuration of the Belilin and the magic circle that we learned in Lesson 7. If any of you have not yet studied that lecture, you can find the video of Lesson 7 in the video section of the course. This practice is essential to protect the physical body from any attempt by negative external entities to disturb us or to extract our energy while we sleep. The next step is to ask for assistance and guidance from our Father and from our Divine Mother, so that the higher parts of our consciousness may guide the practice and help us achieve success. At that moment, we place within our heart 3 times the objective we wish to accomplish in the astral plane. This step is extremely important because once we find ourselves consciously unfolded in the astral world, we will clearly remember where to go and what specific information or experience we are seeking. In this way, we avoid wandering without direction and we prevent ourselves from losing consciousness and falling into ordinary dreaming. Next, we perform a deep and conscious relaxation. We begin by relaxing the mind. For a moment, we simply listen to the sounds around us without identifying with them. We hear them, allow them to pass, and gradually direct our attention to more distant and subtle sounds. In this way, the mind naturally becomes calm and silent. Then we move on to relaxing the emotional center, and we do this through breathing. We inhale slowly and deeply through the nose, hold the breath briefly, and then exhale quickly and gently through the mouth, imagining that all emotional tension is released with the exhalation. After that, we relax the physical body. We imagine a bright, luminous light entering every part of the body, soothing and relaxing it. We then consciously command the physical body to relax and become completely still. We can repeat this physical relaxation process about 3 times until we clearly feel that the body is deeply relaxed. Proper relaxation greatly increases our chances of success with any astral projection technique because it allows us to perceive the subtle symptoms of unfolding more easily. However, for those who fall asleep very easily, it is not advisable to spend too much time on relaxation in order to avoid falling asleep before the practice begins. Once we are sufficiently relaxed, we then begin, in the case of the mantra technique, to chant the mantra we have chosen for that particular practice. If we choose the mantra Fa Ra On, we begin by pronouncing it while lengthening each syllable, and at the same time, we imagine the shape of a pyramid on our forehead. Concentrating on that pyramid, we chant the mantra out loud several times. We should remember that each repetition should be extended for no more than 6 seconds, and that it should not be pronounced loudly, since the goal is to invite sleep. For this reason, the mantra is chanted softly and naturally. After repeating the mantra out loud several times, we gradually lower the volume of the voice until we continue chanting it mentally, maintaining this mental repetition until we begin to perceive the symptoms of unfolding. This mantra is pronounced as follows.
Fa Ra On. Fa Ra On.
After chanting it about 10 to 15 times out loud, we lower the voice and continue chanting it mentally. If we choose to practice with the mantra La Ras, we concentrate our attention on the point between the eyebrows. We may imagine a violet or purple light at that point while chanting the mantra. The pronunciation is
La Ras. La Ras.
As with the previous mantra, we chant it out loud several times, then gradually reduce the volume of the voice until we continue chanting it mentally, remaining attentive until we notice the symptoms that indicate the astral projection process is taking place. Another mantra that may be used is This mantra is chanted while concentrating on the heart center. It is especially effective for people who do not fall asleep easily, since it helps induce sleep quickly and allows the symptoms of astral projection to appear sooner. For those who fall asleep very easily, the following mantra is recommended. This mantra is chanted while concentrating on the larynx. When practiced with good concentration, this mantra produces a strong vibration that helps prevent consciousness from falling too quickly into sleep, allowing us to remain aware of the unfolding process. Another mantra that can also be used is This mantra is chanted while concentrating on the point between the eyebrows. As with the other mantras, we chant it out loud several times, then gradually lower the voice until we continue chanting it mentally. We maintain the mental repetition until we feel that the symptoms associated with astral projection become stronger and more noticeable. Some of the symptoms you may experience include the following. You may feel as if your body is expanding or swelling. You may feel the sensation of floating. You may notice a gentle swaying movement of the body. Your arms or legs may feel as though they are lifting and floating. You may experience a tingling sensation throughout the body or a strong vibration. You may feel a sudden, mild jolt. You may feel as if you are spinning at high speed. You may also hear a sound or noise near your ears. When any of these symptoms appear, it is very important not to panic or become overly excited. Instead, relax even more, surrender to the experience, and continue applying the technique until the sensation intensifies. When you feel that the symptom has increased significantly, gently get out of bed and verify whether you are already unfolded in the astral plane. Keep in mind that in the astral dimension, everything may look exactly the same as in the physical world. For this reason, it is always advisable to get up and check when the symptoms appear. One way to verify this is by standing up and making a small jump with the intention of floating. If you remain floating, it means you are already in the astral plane. Another way to check is by stretching one of your fingers with the intention of making it lengthen, as if it were made of rubber, or by trying to pass your hand through a solid object, such as the wall or the bed. If you confirm that you are already in the astral plane, then remember the objective you previously set, and ask your inner father to guide you toward that goal. If, when you perform the verification, you realize that you are still in the physical body, because you do not float or your finger does not stretch, simply return to bed and continue applying the technique you were using. When the symptoms appear again, allow them to intensify further and check once more, repeating the process until you succeed. Let us remember not to prolong the mantra beyond 6 seconds with each exhalation. Let us also remember to pronounce the mantra softly so as not to drive sleep away, and to use only one mantra per practice. Practice, practice, and practice with patience, discipline, and perseverance until you achieve the experience, because it is through practice that mastery is attained. This concludes today's topic. I hope this information proves useful in helping you achieve and strengthen your ability to consciously project yourself into the astral plane. I invite you to continue with the next topic in this course, a very interesting subject titled Duality. In that lecture, we will explore the purpose of our existence and the 10 steps required to achieve the intimate self-realization of the being. Do not miss it.